Hey guys, it's NCS07 coming at you with a brand new top 5. So, as you already read from the title, today I'm going to be going over the top 5 worst Scott the Woz episodes. Now, before we get into this list, I need to get a few disclaimers out of the way. First of all, I am not intending this video as a hate video to Scott himself. I'm not intending this to be hateful or anything like that. And my proof is that I actually made a video on the top 5 best Scott the Woz episodes. And if you want to watch that, I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll also include an end card at the end of this video that will take you to that video. I would highly recommend checking out that video first and then watching this video, so that way you know I'm not trying to be hateful at all and that I don't hate his content. Honestly, Scott the Woz is one of my favorite YouTubers. So, what reason is there to really hate? And another disclaimer, when I say the top 5 worst episodes, I'm not saying that these videos are bad at all. Honestly speaking, they're not that bad compared to some other YouTube stuff I've watched. What I mean by the top 5 worst episodes are the 5 worst episodes in a sea full of great Scott the Woz episodes. So, the videos that'll be on this list aren't necessarily really that bad in the grand scheme of things. They're just not as good as others, or have quirks about them that just don't make them as enjoyable as the other episodes. And also, probably one of the biggest disclaimers, this is my list and this is my opinion, so if one of the videos on this list is a video that you really like, well, I'm sorry. We just have different perspectives. So please keep it in mind. It is my opinion only. And I would say let's get into the list. However, I do need to mention there are no honorable mentions. I had this in my best list. I had plenty of honorable mentions, but I have no honorable mentions for the worst episodes. Mainly because I just couldn't find many. I'll get into this later in the video, near the conclusion part. But let's get this list started.
Hey y'all, 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 Scott here.
Coming in at the number 5 spot is Heavy Rain. Now, like I said before, I wasn't able to really find that many candidates for a top 5 worst Scott the Woz episodes list, considering there just aren't that many videos that are less than mediocre from Scott, and you're gonna notice that I don't have a lot to say about some of these candidates, such as this one, Heavy Rain. Honestly, this video isn't really that bad, as it's basically Scott just talking about the interactive drama game Heavy Rain for the PlayStation 3. However, what gets this video on the list is just the simple fact that, and this is a personal thing, it's just the fact that I feel like in this video, Scott attempts way too much to make humor, a little bit more than I'm used to. See, Scott the Woz is great at putting humor in his videos at the right times and at the right moments and not overdoing it. In this video, Scott kind of overdoes the humor, and it's a little bit jarring, and the video overall just feels a little bit more rushed than compared to the normal standard fare. But honestly, that's all I've got to say about this video. It's not really that bad, it's just that one thing that makes it less than desirable. But hey, at least it's not as bad as the next placement on the list.
Hey y'all, 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 Scott here.
Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have a tie. I know that's pretty unconventional for a top 5, but there is a good reason I have for making a tie. It's the videos Why the Wii U Failed and What the Wii U Did Right. These two videos are so similar to one another that I honestly couldn't choose one over the other to be in this video, so I'm putting both of them here. So where are the problems? Well, again, the videos are very similar, so I'll just talk about both of them as a whole. First of all, they just don't seem very original in terms of concepts. Keep in mind, these videos were made pretty early on in the first season, right before the Nintendo Switch launched, so it would kind of make sense that you would make one of these videos, but so many other people have done videos on why the Wii U failed and whatnot, and how the Wii U was a success, that it's been overdone at this point, and isn't necessarily the most original thing out there. But what really gets this video at the number 4 spot is the fact that they're just not very good. Honestly, they just don't have a lot of humor. They're just not that funny. It's just the fact that there's just barely any humor in these videos, and again, less creativity, and just not as much work was really put into these videos compared to other Scott the Woz episodes, and even older Scott the Woz episodes that came out around the same time as these two. Now, what the Wii U did right has its own problem. The fact that it's ridiculously short. He spends so little time really talking about what the Wii U did right that it feels like even less effort was put into that video. So if you don't want it to be a tie and you want to know which one I think is worse, technically I would think what the Wii U did right was worse, just because I feel like there was less effort put into that video as opposed to the why the Wii U failed video. But regardless, I'm still putting these two videos at a tie. They're way too similar to one another. They have not that much effort put into them and pretty lazy ideas for videos.
Hey y'all, Scott here.
Coming in at the number 3 spot, we've got The Great Mysteries of Gaming. Now, I know this is probably going to be a very controversial and unpopular opinion, but I don't like this episode. This is probably the only Scott the Woz episode that I feel had the most potential, but they just didn't use it. Now, this is a Halloween special for Season 3 in 2019. The video basically separated into 2 parts. The discussion where Scott discusses many of the creepypastas and urban legends among the gaming community, such as L is Real, the Luigi hanging glitch, and the Sonic CD creepy message Easter egg thing. And then the other part of the video is basically a skit about a murder mystery at a dinner party. Pretty much, it makes sense. And honestly, it's so sad to see this video make it on the list because the concept had so much potential. It actually would have been one of the best ideas for a video, let alone a Halloween special. So what's the problem with this video? Well, the problem is that the video focused way too much on the skit. Now, the skit I don't have a problem with. The skit in itself is fine. It's a little dumb, but it's kind of the intention of it, so I don't really have much problems with the skit. But I do have a problem with the fact that the skit was pretty much the main focus of the video rather than the discussion part. Because the discussion part just feels so lacking. I feel like the video just doesn't work very well. First of all, it isn't divided into segments either. The way the video is divided is that he talks about one mystery and then it cuts back to another scene in the skit. Then it cuts to another discussion about another creepypasta thing. And then it cuts to another part of the skit. I don't think it works very well in the end because the creepypastas and urban legends he talks about have absolutely nothing to do with the skit at all. Look at the Bargain Bin Christmas special. That video was made perfectly. It had the discussion segment about the Bargain Bin video games at the start and then the skit at the end with no interruptions. It feels like the video constantly gets interrupted and it feels like it really doesn't do a good job at maintaining focus at all. And not only that, and probably the biggest nail in the coffin is the fact that Scott could have done a much better job going over many of the urban legends. There are just so many things that really just felt missing. I feel like he didn't barely go in depth at all on many of them. The only mystery that Scott went in depth on at all was the L is Real mystery. That is the only one that I think he went pretty good development on. Other than that, the others just feel lacking. For the Luigi's Hanging Shadow, he just talks about it for like a sentence, and then he touches creepypastas, but he doesn't even really go anywhere in depth on any of them. And to be fair, many gaming creepypastas are just the same thing as the other, just haunted video game not working right because of some spirit controlling it. But even so, he could have went more in depth on like Ben Drowned at the very least. Not only one of the scariest gaming creepypastas, but one of the scariest and best creepypastas, period. It just feels like it's lacking a lot, and I would have loved to have this be the main focus of the video and the skip be a little special part, rather than the skip being the main focus of the video. So overall, my main problem with this video is that it's not structured very well, as it constantly feels like each part is losing focus, so it really doesn't do a good job at maintaining focus on a specific thing, and I feel like there was so much lacking from the video overall. I would love to see this video get a sequel, potentially this Halloween, with much better production put into it, and overall just more into it.
Hey y'all, Scott here.
Now for the number 2 and number 1 picks, they're pretty obvious choices, and I don't have anywhere as near much to talk about these videos as opposed to the Great Mysteries of Gaming, so I'll just get through these next two. So at the number 2 spot, we've got the Nintendo Switch presentation. Now, and I'll go more in depth on this in the next video, but the main problem with this video is just the simple fact that it's the growing pains, and to be fair, and to be honest, it isn't really fair considering it was Scott's first few attempts at these kind of videos, so don't take it the wrong way, but yeah, but when you watch them compared to the other videos, they just have a lot of growing pains, specifically with the first one, but we'll get to that later. With the Nintendo Switch presentation, it just isn't that good. There isn't really anything inherently wrong with it, but it's just not the best in my personal opinion. It's just not that funny. It's just kind of weird, and I don't know. Again, it's growing pains, so there's that, but that's all I really have to say on this video. And you probably already know what number 1 is, so let's get into that.
Hey y'all, Scott here.
Finally, at the number 1 spot, we've got the Nintendo Switch wishlist, Scott's first episode of the Scott the Woz series. Now, like I said in number 2, the main problem with this video is just growing pains. Honestly, it's just not the best. And again, it's not terrible at all. But the video definitely has a lot of growing pains compared to other videos, and even watching it nowadays, and even compared to some of the other videos he was putting out in the early part of season 1, the videos just aren't as good as some of the other ones. And again, it's not really the most fair thing to put these two videos at the top of the list, considering they are his first attempts, but they are labeled as canon in the series, as they are part of season 1, and they are Scott the Woz episodes, so unfortunately, they get these placements. And overall, that's pretty much all I have to say. It has every single problem from the Nintendo Switch presentation video back here. And yeah, so while it isn't that bad of an episode, the Nintendo Switch wishlist is easily the worst Scott the Woz episode thus far. And while it doesn't sound very good, it's not really that bad. And I'll explain why. Now, something I want you guys to keep in mind after watching this video is that, and I mentioned this before, but this video is not intended to be hateful. I'm not trying to make this hateful at all. I wanted to do this after I made the best Scott the Woz episodes list. And again, I'll have an end card and I'll have the link to the video in the description down below. But I wanted to make this video because I felt it was necessary. And keep in mind that the videos that I put on this list, they aren't inherently bad at all. Like I said before, none of them are bad. The Nintendo Switch wishlist video, while it is the worst Scott the Woz episode, it's not that bad of an actual video. Again, like I said, the problem was just growing pains. It's just not that bad. It's just the fact that out of so much good content and episodes that Scott has made, there's always gonna be those videos that are lurking around that slip through the cracks and are labeled as good videos when they really aren't the best. Again, they're not bad videos, but I'd call them less than mediocre. We'll call it that, compared to the standard fare of Scott the Woz episodes. So, with that, I want to say thank you for watching this video. Please check out Scott the Woz if you haven't checked him out yet, and if you haven't, then how'd you even end up on this video? But even so, please check out his channel. I'll have a link in the description down below, and I'll also have an end card to his Scott the Woz episode playlist, so you can check out all the other episodes, and why not subscribe to this channel as well while you're at it, and check out my best list. Well, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care.